Okay, so I am thrilled to welcome you to a discussion of what is probably my favorite topic, um, which is uh, linking brands and marketing to money to get them treated with the respect that they deserve. There is a reason why this webinar is today, which you won't know because I didn't, because it didn't exist until this year. Today is the first official, really legitimized Global Brand Day. So this is going to be the start, hopefully, of something that becomes much bigger. So where did this come from? Unexpectedly, the idea originated in China. So the Chinese government recognized some years ago that they were producing unbranded products for Western companies who probably put their brands on them and sell them for, 3 times at least the price and in much larger volumes than the Chinese could. So the government decided the brands really did drive money and were important and wanted to made a major investment in encouraging Chinese companies to build brands and educate the companies on how to do it. And they even set up a special government department for the purpose. So they've been at it since 2017, when they launched the first China Brand Day at the Shanghai Global Expo. And that is going on simultaneously with us right now in Shanghai, showcasing the best Chinese brands. So they've really built it up into something quite big. Partly they've been at it a few years and partly they got the government behind it. But as part of their efforts to learn about brands, which has been, kind of uphill journey since they really haven't, they knew that recognized that they were important, but how to do all this is something that they needed help on. So they are very actively involved in the global ISO, International Standards Organization committees for setting global standards for brands. So the ISO knows about this idea because of the Chinese involvement. It's decided it's a good one. It's taken it up and is starting to make it global. So simultaneously, there are events happening or something happening in Austria, London, China, as well as the US. And obviously, hopefully this is the start and we'll make it much bigger. Why did we call it the golden ticket? The golden ticket is actually the ISO standard 20671, which is why it's there in a golden ticket. And we thought, because of the Global Brand Day, we should talk about the importance of brand standards and measurement and how we can use them to spread recognition of the critical role that brand and marketing play in driving business success and growth. So the Marketing Accountability Standards Board is the US representative on behalf of the ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, on the ISO committees for the development and implementation of global standards for brands and marketing. And the signature accomplishment of this committee, which is called TC 289, are the publication of the first ever standard for brand valuation, which came out in 2010, expanded into this standard for brand evaluation, which came out in 2019, and is the evolution process is about to start again. And it includes much more detail on the process and methods to be adopted. And we're very proud because this was driven through by MASB's Bob Calder, professor at Kellogg Business School at Northwestern, who's chair of the ISO Technical Committee 289, from the beginning until this year, who's now been succeeded by David Haig, CEO of Brand Finance, who's also a member of MASB. It's already been supplemented to include tourism and place branding, and now just starting on also sustainability measurement standards. So these, as well as the new review and update of the original work on brand valuation, will be discussed at the upcoming ISO plenary in London in June. But it was Tony Pace who really was very active in this. My much missed predecessor as MASB CEO, who famously said, the ISO standard is important. We have to tell people about it. People aren't aware enough, and called it the golden ticket to marketing. So why is it so important? What does the standard say? The standard says brands are one of the most valuable yet least understood assets. And this is actually quoting from the standard, which you can see there. It says a strong brand is a valuable asset. Strong brands attract customers and add revenue through increased price and/or volume premiums, including repeat purchase loyalty. Brands can also reduce costs and create a competitive advantage in the minds of stakeholders. You can take a brand from one product and put it on another product, or from one country and put it into another country, and it will generate more value. So a brand thus has an impact on revenue and profitability and can influence corporate value. So we're very proud that and congratulations again to the team that steered it through, which wasn't me, we've really got the much respected ISO standards, creating standards for brand and the measurement of brand and linking it to business results. This is the ISO standard model. And they kind of look at it two ways, because they started out just by looking at the monetary value. What is the number? And then they said, well, it's really important also to have standards for what the inputs are to developing the numerical value. The output is only as good as the inputs. So the expanded standard goes into looking at what should all the inputs be, from the views of customers and other stakeholders and research, to what's going on in the market, to political and economic and legal considerations. So it's good stuff, and there's a lot in there, and it's actually easier to read than some other standards. Why does it matter? It provides endorsement of the fact that brands are valuable assets and should be treated as such. So here we have a universally respected standards model body, which non-marketing minded C-suite executive boards in the investment committee all know what ISO is and they respect it. So people listen when you start to talk about brand and marketing in the terms of ISO. It also holds the key practically to the future of marketing, because it links brand and marketing and financial outcomes. It demonstrates its importance and will help marketing get taken more seriously. It also holds the key, I would argue very strongly, to the future success of businesses, because what does it help do? Link brand to sales and profits and financial value. If you leverage brand and untap the brand's potential to drive sales and profit growth, investors are always hunting for what's known as the elusive alpha, the competitive advantage, the extra factor that can create higher share prices and more money. Most of them, they've been looking all these years in the supply chain. It's kind of played out. But the brand alpha, which is the demand chain, is untapped by most companies. There are exceptions. And because marketing is not linked to money, its importance is not recognized today. The function is widely questioned. The average tenure of marketers, CMOs, is 39 months. Horrifically, only 4% of board members have any marketing experience, which, if you think about it, is really terrible. So the other 96%, who are they? They're accountants, they're operations people, but they are not people who know anything about driving the business forward or growth. There's been a lot of publicity on this, research reliably shows that 90%, repeatedly, the study is done every year on this, 90% of CEOs trust their CFOs and CTOs, and 80% distrust their CMOs. So marketing's not respected. It's been dumbed down to making commercials. CMOs are seen as not strategic and lacking in financial literature. And what does this mean? Yeah, no voice in the boardroom. Marketing's not properly funded. It's the first to have its budget cut. To give you an idea, 30% of advertisers worried that there might be a recession cut their budgets in 2023. And tenures are horrifically short. The shortest tenure of any role in the C-suite. 57% have been in their roles 3 years or less, which kind of perpetuates the problem because it takes maybe 3 years to get good at this. As a result, of all this dissatisfaction with the CMO, more and more companies are experimenting with getting rid of their CMOs and organizing revenue generation responsibility in different ways. So you've all seen, I'm sure, the dizzying proliferation of new titles. Chief Growth Officer, Chief Revenue Officer, Chief Commercial Officer, Chief Experience Officer, and the vogue of one at the moment, Chief Sustainability Officer, and my personal bugbear, Chief Marketing and Technology Officer. I'll explain later why I hate that one especially. And all sorts of companies are abolishing the CMO role. So UPS and Uber and Walgreens all did this December, and Starbucks did it in March. So it's not stopping. It's in anything gaining momentum. So McKinsey study at the end of 2023 found that 40% of Fortune 500 companies don't have a CMO any longer, or any person with growth or customer-related responsibilities in their C-suite. And only 36% of Fortune 500 companies now have executives with CMOs in their title. Some are replacing the CMO with regional CMOs or combining the job with other functions. So to give you an idea, UPS has said that marketing will now be overseen by the newly promoted Chief Commercial and Strategy Officer, who will now be responsible for revenue, product management, strategy, and transformation. So you can see marketing is just way down the pillar.
Say, Joanna, I have a participant question here that ties in. This person, I think, is really triangulated.
Yeah, please interrupt. Yes.
An idea on the last few slides, and I think it probably, I'll paraphrase the question a bit, but you talked about the investment community and some of these other things organizationally that are going on. I mean, what's your opinion to what degree the investment community has embraced this idea of brand creating financial value, or do you think there's still maybe a bit they're a bit out in the woods a bit and really haven't gotten there yet?
Well, I think it's changed, in fact. So it used to be that they would laugh if you mentioned the word brand and wouldn't give you 5 minutes. I know, because I've tried to interview them for years. And it used to be just about impossible. They wouldn't give you the time of day. That actually has changed. I would argue that they are ahead of companies. So boards are lagging behind the investment community. The investment community is actually looking at what drives business success and looking for this alpha. Are they where they should be? No. But are they ahead of corporations in general? Yes. Are they interested in the idea of brand valuation and it adding value to businesses? Are they starting to talk about brands in some of their investment analyses and reports? Yes, they are. So it's changing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And there's a follow-up here, which is, I think an also interesting observation, it really leverages off the point you made regarding CMO tenure. Yeah, can CEOs and boards not see the fallacy of continuing to turn over their CMOs, who by their nature probably need a reasonable amount of time to truly build brands?
One would think so. One would hope so. And maybe that is why some of the companies who abolished their CMOs have changed their mind. And actually, there's another one to add. Gap announced yesterday that they are reinstituting their abolished CMO role. So PayPal, Coca-Cola, and McDonald's all abolished their CMOs and then all kind of rather sheepishly brought them back again. So, the whole thing is ridiculous. It shouldn't last. But I think that, the golden ticket to marketing, the ISO standards, and the answer is, really what we're talking about today. They need to see the financial results and in terms that they really can understand, of investment in brand and marketing. So great question. You think they'd be more intelligent? And it's not the marketer's fault. It's not really the CMO's fault. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you get, people who are stuck in a bygone eras who are just thinking about advertising, not brand in the CMO role. But that's increasingly not the case. The problem is that because marketing is not respected, there is no set place that it exists in an organization. It is a complete mess. And MASB actually has an initiative launching on this and looking at the mess we have today and what best practices are and should be in different types of organization. So, depending on who you look at, if you look at, I don't know, Ford, marketing sales actually does report to marketing, very unusual. If you look at many companies, marketing increasingly reports to sales. It's very rare that marketing reports to the CMO. It's usually a rival silo. Many CMOs, we just saw the example of UPS, that CMOs are starting to report to strategy. Increasingly, they are getting pushed down the organization. Research and insights, understanding customers, which is like core to the CMO's job, often reports to strategy, finance, or direct to the CEO. And, it's a sort of separate encampment from marketing. Sometimes digital marketing, which by the way is marketing, doesn't report to marketing. It reports to IT. So it is all over the place. It's a complete mess. So, connected with demonstrating the importance of marketing, it's the first step in getting its role in companies and its place in the organization changed to where it should be. Also, other problem facing marketing is marketing decision rights vary across the place. CMOs tend to have responsibility, but not authority. Very often, they do not control the budgets. The budgets are in the regions, in the divisions, the product groups. Marketing doesn't control them. So very difficult to have responsibility for growing revenues and helping business success if the budget isn't yours and they do short-term, immediate performance marketing things with it and don't pay any attention to the longer-term brand performance. So for these reasons, solving the marketing dilemma is critical. And I would argue, which may be contentious, but I would stick to it, it's more important than AI. It may not seem that way, but what is AI? AI is tactics. It's not strategic. It's an enabler of companies. It's not a driver of their strategy and their success. It'll create turmoil, but in the end will be positive. What does it do? It mainly allows you to it's about how you do things, smart content creation, voice search, AI generated content, ad targeting, customer predictive analysis, lead scoring, retargeting calculation, chatbots. Those are all applications of AI in marketing. Is that driving the future of the business? Is that strategic? No, it's tactical. Can it be useful? Yes. But what does it do? It gives you the ability to do more faster with less. Gives you better personalization of content. It gives you increased customer satisfaction by reducing wait times for customer service. It helps you proactively offer customers the right products, helps you speed up repetitive tasks, optimize targeting, allow you to experiment and reduce risks of investment, and increase your positive impact on very tactical things like click-through rates, open rates, and purchase. But what it does not do is drive money. The most powerful brands add billions to the financial value of their companies. If you look at the brand value of, an Apple, it is, many times the GDP of many countries, including Russia, by the way.
Hey, this is a good point to interject another question, and it's a bit of a follow-up relating to brand value in the investment community. One of the participants points out that the investment community seems to very much get the label of being very short-term focused, very much on top of what happened this quarter, what happened in the last quarter, what happened in the next quarter. Well, the boardroom should actually be focused on longer term. And I think the participant is asking, can you speculate on why the investment community, somewhat unfortunately, seems to be getting there quicker than the boardroom?
Well, what is market cap? It is the capitalization of their estimates of estimates and the investment community's view of the future value of the company. So even though the stock market goes up and down, looking at immediate growth, if you read something like Barron's, which I'm personally addicted to, they are also all looking at what is the future of the company, what is its future growth trajectory. Whereas I would argue that CEOs, CFOs, and boards are actually more focused on the next quarter because they're all worried about how the investment community and the share price is going to immediately react, and not so interested about the long term because they may not be there forever.
Let's just call it an unfortunate irony, huh?
It is, isn't it? And please send more questions. I love it. Being interrupted is what this is for. So, brand marketing, why is it more important than AI for marketers? It drives growth. Brand drives growth. It's more important for companies than AI. It's what CEOs are looking for. All companies, all CEOs right now, 72% in a recent KPMG study said the overall focus on growth is the most important thing for their company's well-being. They're in growth mode, mostly pursuing organic growth right now, even not acquisitions. Why is it? Because actually they kind of know. They may not be acting like it, but marketing is important because it's the engine of the demand chain. It's what brings in the money. It can deliver higher prices, as the ISO standard says, or volumes, or both. And it creates sustainable competitive advantage. And it can do that in any combination. Coca-Cola drives a positive price premium and the positive volume premium. A great brand. Walmart deliberately has a strategy of, lowering, not having a price premium in order to get the volume premium. Prada, it's the opposite way around. Put the price up, get lots of margin and don't sell as many. Louis Vuitton, interestingly, has been targeting a broader consumer segment to generate further growth. So they actually, in the last 20 years, during which time their value has soared immeasurably, they've lowered their price premium by introducing more lower-end products. What and let's be clear, it's all relative. So what they call those plastic bags are actually those lovely canvas holdalls that everybody has that cost $1,000 plus. But it's still compared to the, you know, 30,000 suitcase, but $1 suitcase, it's a lot less. So that is why marketing and brand are important. They drive growth. How do we rescue marketing? How do we get its importance recognized and elevate it to its rightful place in the boardroom? And I think, you know, we would argue there's only one way. You have to link brand and marketing to financial results. You have to talk in the language that CEOs, CFOs, and boards speak. There is only one way to do that is you have to make marketing accountable. Treat brand as an asset like any other asset, which is invested in to generate value and then held accountable for results. And you have to show that the results have been achieved. You have to demonstrate marketing's crucial role in driving business value growth. And there is actually another MASB initiative, which is a priority initiative, which has a lot of steam behind it, which, building on the previous brand valuation work, is taking it a step further and looking at how do we demonstrate the business impact of investment in brand and marketing.
Why do you think marketing has failed to demonstrate accountability up till now?
That is a terrifically good question, because there is a divide between the fact that kind of CEOs kind of know that brand and marketing drive financial value, but the fact that there are actually tools available to value it, but the marketers either don't know they exist, are confused about them, or frightened of them, and think it's overcomplicated and belongs to the accountants, and you know, they don't understand it. So, you know, a lot of this is education, and it's ridiculous. I mean, it is actually totally perverse, because you know, by linking marketing to money, you can do two things. First of all, you can get its importance recognized, which makes their life better and gets them respect and treated better. But also, it makes companies better by accelerating growth, helping. Marketing is close, and brand especially, closely connected to innovation. Some of the recent work I've done consulting, one's become the other, because, you know, looking for opportunities for the brand identifies places the company isn't, where customers are going to be and the brand has permission to be, and that unleashes new innovations. We recently did, as a consultant at Ogilvy, I was responsible for leading a lot of work with Mondelez, who's I'm delighted to congratulate as a new MASB member, on looking at, you know, where the brand should go. And what did that turn into? It turned into a whole change in thinking and new ideas for innovation, which the company has taken a lot further and is now implementing. So it makes companies better. I think it's because early on, the whole idea of brand valuation was captured by accountants for tax purposes and frightened everybody else off. So what's the answer? How do we link brand and marketing to financial results? It is not about what people historically have focused on. I mean, I myself am personally guilty. So I, in one of my former roles, invented and created the Brandzy Top 100 valuation ranking of brands, which is about the numbers, because that's what gets attention. But that's not what we need to be doing. We need to not understand what the brand is worth. That's a nice to have. You can wave it about. It attracts attention, but that's it. You can't do anything with it. It's about how does the brand and marketing behind it drive value so that you know which levers to pull to drive more value. So how do we think about it? First of all, let's say, what is brand as a source of value? And, the definition I like, because it links very easily to money. Brand is the psychological benefits resulting from a set of associations in the minds of customers or other stakeholders. It applies equally to, employees or investors. It technically in market research is called the cupboard of memories. If you think of the first time you drank a Coca-Cola, many people can remember that. It's like Proust's Madeleine. It takes people back, and it generates a fondness. But the psychological benefits from the associations differentiate it from competitors and kind of create a promise of future performance, what is expected from this product. And delivering on this product of future performance by having good products that fit with it creates reputation, and that's a source of value. So what brands really do is they create preference, which generate an additional flow of sales and profit. So we think about it that way, it starts to become easier to measure. So the first and most critical step for demonstrating the value of brand and marketing is not about financials at all. It's about understanding what drives customer or other stakeholder decision to choose the company over competitors, or not or to choose the brand, any brand. It can equally well be a sports team over competitors. What are the factors? Which are the most important? And how well is your brand performing on each of these factors? So you look at this example there, you can say, what is the brand contribution to each of the factors that drive decision-making? And it is the decision to do business with the company that drives revenues, profits, and future cash flows. No customers, no cash flows. And that is what, how brand is created. But by dissecting it into what is the source of how a brand creates value, you can then say, well, if I'm brand B, for example, I've got great quality of service and cool features, but nobody perceives me as a leader. So maybe I should do some marketing. If you're brand A, you're already seen as a leader. And your service coverage, you're very big, your service coverage is everywhere. This actually originally came from mobile telephony. But your quality of service stinks. So maybe if you want to include perceptions of your brand and create more value, you need to do something about your service. So the outcome of linking brand to money isn't necessarily recommendations to do with marketing. Very often it's absolutely not. It can be, operations or sales or IT. But what we're doing by identifying the proportion of the customer decision to pay money that can be reasonably attributed to brand, you can then say, well, this means that X% of our future revenues and profits or cash flows, earning streams, looks like it's brand. So we can then discount it back just like we would in any other valuation and say, well, this is the value of the brand, but we have it. That's the current brand value you get from it. But because we have the drivers underneath, which say this is where it comes from, we can then say, what if, not just what the value is today, but to figure out what we can do to leverage brand better and make our brand more powerful so that it will generate more revenues and profits in the futures. And this is just a list of some of the ways, some of the options you can run. Once you've linked your brand to money, you can use it for just about anything. You can use it to say, how do we talk about our brand? What do we call our different things, different parts of the business, different products and services? You can use it to say, how do we take a brand? Where should it go? If you've got, the Cadbury brand in chocolate bars, for example, where else can that brand play that maybe uses chocolate, but they're not in today? So that can get you new products, innovations. Also, you can license your brand and just take back, a risk-free set of profits. It also plays linking brand money for marketers plays a vital role in demonstrating the ROI of investment in brand and marketing to optimize the budgets. And this is not just short-term financial value. It's not just sales uplift immediately, which you can measure by, clicks and website visits and immediate purchase, but enables you to say, how is our investment in brand and marketing changing customers' perceptions and preference for our brand, which will generate more sustainable, longer lasting value. And then, of course, the other key piece is you need to incorporate it into measurement of brand. If you can't, you won't have any traction with the board if you can't say, this is, what we spent on our brand, and this is what we got for it in the language that CEOs and CFOs speak, which is money. So this is what you can do if you really exploit the potential of brand and marketing. You can dramatically accelerate revenue and profit and business value growth in different ways. You can do it by making your brand stand out more, having a more powerful brand proposition and identity. You can do it by focusing your brand portfolios so that you're packing all your brand and marketing power and behind one punch rather than fragmenting it, and your innovation investment with it across different brands. It can help you get into new markets and categories. It can help drive innovation. It can build better customer experiences, which are brand experiences. Anything that is a service business, the majority of the value of the brand comes out of the customer experience. Marketing is a relatively small part of it. I remember, one of the first brand Z's, Google, where Google came up top. They sent their one of their head people to unveiling the results. And what he said, well, it's very odd because we don't think about brand or marketing. We think about servicing, developing the best possible user experience we can for customers. That's what our founders have relentlessly focused on. Well, what is that? Building the customer experience, which is what has built the immense value of the Google brand. And it can help optimize the marketing and innovation budgets. If you look at the ROI and what value it's going to drive with different options, you can say, how much should we be spending? And where should we be spending on what parts of our business, what products and services, what markets, as well as what channels we should use. So you can do so much with it. So this is why, it is so important. And of course, the fifth thing you have to do is you have to prove. The proof is in the pudding. Evaluating the brand once is nice to have and can have a major business impact. A major mistake that many CMOs make, given their short tenure, it's what they're focused on. They don't get to do it more than once. But the value comes from integrating it into management processes. It should be a given. It should help you. It should be integrated into ongoing internal measurements in all companies. There should be a brand measurement system, just like in many companies, there are customer satisfaction measurement systems. It should include financial KPIs. It shouldn't just be market research, which may tell you the right answer. But unfortunately, people outside the marketing department, and very often people outside the market research department, don't pay any attention to it. It should be part of the managerial reporting and processes. Ideally, you finish your brand measurement just before you start the budgeting process, so it feeds into it. And you should link it to compensation. It should be part of executive compensation for all senior managers, not just marketing. Very, very few companies do this. One of them, interestingly, is Samsung. Rather successful brand. And also, and this is a very contentious issue, so I have to be careful. It should be reported externally. It should be reported internally, and it should be reported externally. This doesn't mean you have to stick the brand on the balance sheet. That generates a whole other sort of accounting processes and tends to get it back into just being a financial metric that's not strategic. But it should, just as sustainability is increasingly reported and DEI are increasingly reported in, add-ons to the company report, external reporting. Brand should be the same. And it should include brand value and marketing ROI and discussion about the brand is going. It's a major asset of the company. Other assets are reported on. We need to get this one added. So that is our recipe for how to do it. If companies do it, what do you get out of it? Recognition of the importance of brand and marketing. So hopefully the CMOs will be treated better, recognized as important, and stay longer. It will include reorganization of company organizations, so that marketing actually has the right place in it, not being all over the place. And CMOs get to take their rightful seat, and people with marketing backgrounds represent more than 4% of boardroom members, which is still striking, horrifying me as a metric. So that is the message for Global Brand Day, why it matters, why we need to make everybody know that there are accountability standards for marketing. They should be the golden ticket for marketers. I think it's MASB's mission and role to help make it that way. So I'll stop now and hope and Jim, do we time an open field for anybody to question, comment?
Yes,
agree.
Yes, we have had a few accumulate, and the first couple are really maybe just some amplifying comments, relating to things that you said on the issue of, the investment community getting there first, ahead of the boardrooms. One of the participants points out that, one of the key responsibilities of an investment analyst is to apply an earnings multiple to the earnings, which then leads to, a projected share price, and in short, good, strong brands probably is more likely to lead to a higher earnings multiple than a lower one.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely agree more.
Yeah. And another participant makes the comment that, ironically, marketing has perhaps done a very poor job of marketing itself.
Yes, as has MASB, which we're trying to change. Yeah. Absolutely. Why is the marketing community not marketing the ISO standard? It's really done an absolutely awful job. It's astonishing.
How much does this frustrate you that we still need to talk about the value of marketing?
Yes, it's a frustration, but it's more of a challenge. There is something here we have to do. So, it's what motivates me personally, both in my, personal role as a consultant, helping, CMOs and as MASB. So it is frustrating. And I think, it's an educational process. I view it as a challenge, as a mission, as something to, my purpose and MASB's purpose is to push this forward. And there is a tendency, people still for marketing to hire because, the thing that differentiates marketing, the great marketers will tell you that the reason they're in marketing, not, another role, in senior executive role, is because the others are all operational and they are, uh, left brain, and marketing is right brain and left brain. And that is what makes it exciting, challenging, thrilling. And, in the world in which we live, which is more and more and more intangible, it's more and more important. So I think, we've seen a lot of change in the last, how long have I been? I've been at this, I don't know, maybe 20 years, and there's been a lot of change. So the idea that brands matter at all is now, it may not be acted on, but it is generally understood it never used to be. The idea that brand might be more than just advertising and a logo is becoming more, it's become a lot more understood. There is some movement along with this dreadful turmoil in the CMO process. There are some CMOs who are starting to get promoted to CEO, which is where they should be. CEOs shouldn't be all accountants and finance guys and operations guys and scientists. They should be the people who are driving growth. So it's starting to change. Yes, it's frustrating.
Yeah, okay. One of the participants asked a question regarding AI, or it's more of a comment, which is kind of interesting. And perhaps this is a good preamble for about 5 weeks out when Venki does, our next webinar on leveraging AI for the purposes of ROI. And the notion from the presenter is that, AI could perhaps be considered one of the best gifts for brands if used not just tactically, but beyond that. I'm just wondering if you have a reaction to that.
Oh, I think it's probably one of the best gifts for everything. I was recently, for all functions in businesses, and marketing just as much so, and maybe even more so, because the ability it has to provide more quicker input to enable you to try things out quicker plays to both R&D and innovation and to marketing. You can experiment more easily, more quickly. You can get your data together more easily and more quickly. So, yes, there's misuse. Yes, there's turmoil. Will some jobs disappear? Of course they will. But, other jobs. I've actually been playing with a team of very financially minded and program minded interns on can we use AI to do a lot of the brand valuation data analysis? The answer is it's difficult, but yes. But they came up and said, well, now we can apply for new jobs because we are AI prompters, which in fact they are. So it spawns as many new jobs, I think, as it will get rid of.
One of the participants asked how you view the issue of differentiation in marketing versus distinctiveness in marketing, or distinction in marketing, which I think is kind of this, Byron Sharp's, notion of distinctiveness versus differentiation that the Ehrenberg Bass Institute professes.
I'm not sure I know the proper answer, but off the top of my head, what I would say is that distinctiveness is more about grabbing attention. It's shorter term. If you think about TikTok, That is what TikTok is about. It's all about attention. It gets your attention. Does it create differentiation, which is longer term? No, it doesn't. Look at celebrity branding. Brands are going crazy about partnering with celebrities. And they are overdoing it. Because what does partnering with a celebrity do? Yes, it gets people's attention. Does it drive long-term value for the brand? No, because the celebrity will partner with other people. The celebrity may do something dreadful and, cease to be become a pariah, not not somebody admired. So I would say is that branding is about differentiation. Performance marketing or immediate marketing to drive sales is more about distinctiveness. And do companies need to do both? Yes. Can brand be driven through both though? And you build brand through both of them? Yes, if you do it right.
Then Joanna, maybe we'll close with this one. Have the 4 Ps hurt branding?
Ah, I never thought of that. It's a great question. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'd say probably absolutely yes. It never occurred to me before. It's a great question. Absolutely yes, because brand isn't one of them. Brand isn't one of them. The good news is that, people are always inventing their new versions of 4Ps or 4Cs for customers or whatever they happen to be, is that I think the traditional 4Ps are played out and are losing credibility, just like companies just relying on rewarding their executives bonuses based on NPS scores, not the value of the brand and what they've done to help it. So I think it's played out. I think it's a great question. I should have to think more about that one. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, very, very simplistically, for instance, pulling the pricing lever in terms of discounting, not so good.
You can destroy your brand value. Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so let's wrap it there, Joanna. And thanks again, Joanna, for helping us enjoy an hour of World Brand Day.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Joanna. Wonderful presentation. We do have our next webinar coming up on AI with Venki Shekhar. So we're very happy to have that. We hope you will join us for that. And we hope that you all have enjoyed the session today, and we look forward to more conversation in the future. Thank you so much. Happy Brand Day, everyone. Happy World Brand Day.